Welcome to my channel today. My name's Jan Radu and I'm from Perth in Western Australia. I'm an Independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. I've been sharing a series of cards over the last week and they're featuring the Celebration promotion products that are only available for a few more days, and that's the Berry Blessing stamp set and the Berry Delightful Designer Series paper that you can earn free with a qualifying order. So you've only got a few more days left to place an order for any products that might be on your wish list and maybe earn something like this bundle for free. The series of cards I've been making has focused on a couple of different techniques. The first one being the ink blending technique with our new blending brushes, and also using our decorative masks, both with the ink blending and other techniques, just to create some really nice backgrounds for your cards. So this card is the third in the card series, and my card base is an A4 piece of cardstock cut in half and then scored at 10.5 and folded into a standard card size. I'm just using the scoring blade in the paper trimmer just to allow me to fold the cardstock without any creasing or cracking, and that just creates a really nice sharp fold if you use your bone folder, just to burnish that crease. I'm bringing in some scratch paper here because we're going to be doing some inking and just like to protect my work surface. I've got a piece of Whisper White cardstock. You may be using Basic White, which is the replacement. I'm still working my way through my Whisper White stash. I'm bringing in the Basic Pattern Decorative Mask. I've used the same design for each of the cards in my card series just to show you different ways that you can use the same product to get more out of your purchases. The first blending brush here I'm inking up with Blushing Bride ink, and I'm going for an ombre look, so I'm starting in one corner and I'm just doing the lightest pink, adding the ink down in a circular motion, not too heavy a hand. Then I'm bringing in the rich raspberry, just using the same brush again. I haven't added too much ink to my brush, and I'm just trying to blend that through. As you can see, it's not starting off dark and then just moving that ink around the paper, just trying to create some nice variation in colour. Then I'm bringing in Blackberry Bliss, which is the darkest colour I'll be using, and you'll see that really brings a really vivid look. I'm just using the blending brush to blend off on my scratch paper, just so that I don't bring too much ink into my background. You can always add more, but it's really difficult if you end up with big splodges to actually remove that colour. So I'm just cleaning off my brush a little on the scratch paper and then going back to the Blushing Bride and just trying to fill in some of that white space with the lighter colour. Still be a little bit of residual ink of those darker colours on my brush, but that's okay. And I'm going to remove the mask and reveal a really nice ombre background there. Quite happy with how that turned out. So now we've got our background all inked up, I'm just bringing in some DSP. This is the Very Delightful Designer Series paper that's free during Celebration. So I wasn't sure which pattern to use, so I'm just using the Lovely Labels Pick a Punch just to add some decorative ends to each of my strips of pattern paper. And I'm just going to line them up on my card, and that'll help me decide which one to use. So we've got a nice floral pattern, or I've got the reverse, which is this rich raspberry version, which I liked better, so we decided to go with that one. Here's the Berry Blessing stamp set. It's a qualifying order, level 2 order of $180 or more that will get you that bundle for free. We're using the Stitched Shapes dies today, using the square die. I'm bringing in the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss just to run a piece of Whisper White through with that die. Giving you a tip here is to not line up your plates perfectly when you're running it through. It just makes it easier to run through the machine. I love how portable that little mini embossing machine is. Now I've got my paper pierce mat, my Stampin' Pierce mat here. I'm stamping with photopolymer, so I always like to have that cushioning underneath. I find you get a better stamped image that way. mounting all my stamps on clear blocks, and we'll get to stamping. So using the Mossy Meadow, I'm going to be stamping the outline of my leaves first. And then I'll bring in the Granny Apple Green, and using the two-step stamping method, we're using the infill stamp. This is a really quick way of colouring your stamped images. So I'll just line that up by eye, which is easier with the photopolymer stamp. And now bringing in the Blackberry Bliss for my outline of my berry. I'm going to tuck that under there. And then Rich Razzleberry will finish off the infill colour. So I was just doing a bit of a test stamp there to see how dark it would be. So I just stamped that one over the top as well. Now the greeting I'm going to be using today comes from the same stamp set. Wishing you the very best. Just doing a test stamp there as well. And inking that up and adding it onto my square. At this point I decided I needed another leaf in here, just too much white space. So I'll just repeat that process, adding another leaf at a slightly different angle for some interest. And another set of berries just to finish it off. So my card's starting to come together. Just going to do some placement. Normally I pre-prepare my cards before I do a video, but this one here I was winging it. I didn't have a plan, I was just having a play. I'm bringing in some white baker's twine. Using a little bit of the Stampin' Seal on the back just to help me position the twine. I wanted it to go above the sentiment. So I wanted to make sure that I had a good anchor on the back. Winding it around twice and snipping it off. Just using a little bit of normal sellotape just to flatten that down at the back and keep it all in place. And then I can more securely tie my bow. Sometimes bow tying goes very quickly, sometimes not so much. Today seemed to be a good day. Just trimming off the last little tail of that one, and now that sentiment piece is ready to go. So I'm just applying that mat down with some Stampin' Seal. Admiring the background I've created. I'll use some foam tape just to add my DSP strip. And that creates a little bit of dimension with that popped up on the foam strip. And you'll see I'm not placing it completely central, just hanging it off slightly on that left side. And adding this foam strip to the top and bottom of my sentiment piece. And the idea was to just nestle that either side of the DSP strip and pop that down. I've got a little ladybug trinket here that I'm just going to apply with a glue dot. You can see my thought processes going on with this card making. Now we're going to embark on a little bit of card surgery. So I was looking at the card and I really didn't like the way the DSP strip was the same level, like the same height as the sentiment piece. So I decided to use the spatula tool on my Take Your Pick tool and just carefully peel that one back. And I wanted to do a double layer of dimension so that it was actually a third height on the card. So you'll see I just put some foam tape there, take the release paper off and then add a second layer of foam tape and just pop that back on. And I was much happier with the results once I'd done that little bit of minor surgery, so don't be afraid to go with your instincts. And that's the card for today. Thanks for watching the third card in the series of ink blending with our blending brushes and decorative masks. If you enjoyed these card tutorials, I'd love you to subscribe to my channel and check back for any new videos. Thanks again. Bye.